of like prove to everyone just how intelligent we are for this next
Everybody always looks like really surprised at me when intelligent words come out of my
yes,
mouth.
for
So
this next section. Yeah. And we better not have any kind of like blips with our kind of internet communication either.
no kidding. No kidding. That's air. That's
Yeah.
air. Good or
Yeah.
bad.
So the suit of swords, which we associate with the element of air, should we sort of mention that about, you know, certain tarot would see it as fire, the suit of swords? I
We
know we
could
did it the other
mention.
way around when we talked about the wands.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the wands video, the suit of wands,
Yeah.
we discussed in a little bit of detail that there are some tarot readers, and neither is wrong, but there are some tarot readers who associate air with wands and fire with swords. We are of the school that, and I always have been, the way I learned it was fire is wands and air is swords. It's
Yes.
if you do it either way, just stick to it. Don't go flip-flopping around unless you've got a deck that specifically says, yeah, swords are
Yeah. But for me, swords are air. And I just kind of like believe like the suit of swords are largely to do with communication. And let's face it, and also to do with kind of intelligence and using your head, using
yes.
your brains. But let's be honest, in life, poor communication is often at the root of all sorts of problems. You know, if you can communicate clearly and well, you I just think your life will be a lot more straightforward.
And even when you can communicate clearly and well, if the person across from you misinterprets what you said
Yes,
anyway. So
yes,
it's very, very difficult. Communication is a difficult thing, and it does. I mean, you probably see more pain from miscommunication than anything else, or even direct communication. I mean,
yeah.
people can be mean.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's not what you say, it's the way that you say it. You know, two people could say the same thing, but whatever the kind of like, you know, the motive is like behind it, even if the words were the same, can come out completely differently and be perceived completely differently. And I think that's very kind of relevant for the suit of swords.
Oh, and I don't know about you, but if you've ever gotten in that mood where there's nothing anybody can say that's right, you just take everything the wrong way. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I know.
That's
Yes,
involved. Anything about communication and definitely internet, television, radio, they all follow under the suit of swords. I keep saying the suit of air. I don't know where I'm.
yeah. Right. Yeah, I mean, I do think, you know, wars can be won and lost, you know, because of negotiations and because of like how things are kind of transmitted, whatever. And I also feel, you know, I mean, there's that old thing, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me or something. I disagree. I think words can be very painful, very, very painful. And I also think it is to do not just with, you know, communication, but it's also to do with research and thought and intelligence and strategy, and all of that sort of thing comes under the suit of swords. I
Yes.
kind of like do believe the suit of swords is, actually, I'm about to disagree with myself. I was going to say it is all up in the head, but it isn't, because it kind of affects the heart, doesn't it?
It really does. It truly, truly does. There are very, very few people that can actually be just purely intellectual. It's an anomaly. I mean, most people, I'd say 98%. It's a Sharon work. I haven't done the research on this. I haven't
Okay,
done my
yes.
sword's work, But everyday common people that you run into are going to feel just as strongly as they think. And emotion can trounce logic right out of the room. If you're in an emotional state and somebody's trying to use logic on you, you're just not going to see it. All you know is what you feel. And
Yeah,
that's part of communication too. So emotion does leak into there. Absolutely.
yeah, definitely. And also, if you think about it, if you tell yourself something enough times, whether it's good or bad, whatever, you start to believe it. Or if you hear something said to you enough times, like, if somebody else is constantly telling you something, you will eventually, it's brainwashing, isn't it? You will believe it. So that it kind of comes through the head first, and then it kind of like sits somewhere else that can be much deeper.
Good example. I need, I'm always bitching or griping that I hate to write, that I suck at writing. And yesterday you were like, Sharon, you're not as bad at writing as you think you are. And I just kind of like totally dismissed that
Yes.
because for years I've been hearing, wow, you really suck at writing.
Yeah.
you
But no,
know?
but that's it, isn't it? That people will believe things because of what's been kind of drilled into their heads.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some things, it's frightening. Some things are drilled into children's heads from the minute they have any understanding of anything.
I think I think prejudice, even though it's a very fiery thing, I think prejudice belongs in the Suit of Swords because it is a taught thing or a learned thing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely. No, I think that, I think the more you think about the brain and thoughts and all of that sort of thing and information, the more you realize how powerful it is. Even though, it's not necessarily, you could sit and not move and there could be a whole lot of action going on. I mean, if you think about certain psychological dramas, some of them, there's an amazing play called Ghosts, written, it's in Victorian times, by Ibsen, who was he Swedish? No, I think he was Norwegian, Ibsen. And this play, Ghosts, there's very little actual action in the play, but so much happens.
Oh,
So much happens. And it's all psychological, you know? And it's amazing.
I'm gonna have to find that.
Oh, it's brilliant. Yes, all his plays are brilliant, but yeah. And there's another little play that I remember doing when I was at drama school. There was a little one-act play called The Stronger. But this is by Strindberg, who's a Swedish playwright. That's where I was getting confused. And with The Stronger, these two women meet for lunch and they haven't seen each other for a long time. And it all starts off very friendly. But the reason it's called The Stronger is because the one with the power, and they don't move, they literally sit at this table, but the one with the power keeps changing. Like the one that starts off as being very confident, the other one starts to kind of get the upper hand. And the really interesting thing is that one of the characters doesn't actually ever speak. She just listens, and maybe sometimes she's about to speak, but her reaction, it's funny, she sort of becomes the sort of like the stronger of the two, and the more the other one speaks, the more kind of like nervous and shrinking she becomes. It's a very, very well written play.
ah,
It's amazing.
okay. You have
Yeah.
to send me the links for those
Yes,
because that
but
second one
it's
especially.
all done with communication and thought, and yeah, and there's nothing happens. They don't even, order a drink or anything. It's just a
Oh, I
conversation.
love that. Yeah, I have a friend that she says she works in the government and she says one of her most powerful tools is silence. That if
Oh,
she just looks at the person, she's an auditor. And so
yeah,
when she does her audit and she doesn't say anything, they just keep talking more and more and more until she's got everything she needs to know because she never said a word.
that is
It's like,
communication. Yeah,
yeah.
But don't you find sometimes when you're doing a reading for someone and you're shuffling the cards and then you put the cards down and you haven't said anything yet and the person goes, what is it? What have you seen?
It does. Yes.
You've not even said anything. You know that, yeah. But
Or on the
silence,
opposite
yes.
spectrum, when you're doing a reading and you've got a stone cold client that will not show anything, that's tough to do too because you lack that communication. And you could be having a really great read, your intuition is flowing really well, but when you're meeting that fixed air, that
Yeah,
silence,
yeah,
it, it'll trip your intuition up.
yes,
It's a really difficult thing to do.
yeah. I'm quite looking forward to doing this suit because I am Aquarius with my moon in Gemini. So I've got two air signs in, you know, my sun and my moon are in the air signs. I'm definitely I'm communication for me is vital. I'm much more of um a mental person, right? Yeah, you know, I use my head more than a physical person. And yeah, it's kind of like I choose friends, if you like, that stimulate me mentally. That's really, really
Yes.
important to me. And
Yeah.
awkward silences are really hard for me. I will fill the gap with something and then I just feel I've overdone it or whatever. Will overcompensate, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and I'm Gemini moon and Libra rising. So I've
Yes.
got a lot of air going
Oh,
on
you as well.
too.
Yeah.
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 So I'm this, and I think that Gemini moon, I probably drive a lot of people batshit crazy because I talk things out. You know, I'll say everything that happened during the day, just trying to get it into place and
Are you thinking
understand.
out loud sometimes? Because I think
Yeah,
I do that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, where I'm talking to somebody, but I'm really just thinking out loud, no input necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. No, no. I mean, we do that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not going to deny it. And I know it's meant to be the first sign of madness, but sometimes I actually do like talking to myself out loud. And,
Okay. Okay, I got a thing about talking to yourself. I got to tell you, okay? They do. They tell us that we're crazy if we talk to ourselves and especially if we answer ourselves, right? You've heard that.
yeah,
It's been ever since we've been growing. This is my theory. Okay. It's a sign of respect. If I talk to you and you don't answer me, if I ask you a question and you just ignore me or pretend I'm not talking to you, it's going to hurt my feelings. You respect me enough to answer me. I'm going to respect me enough to answer myself. This is my story, and I
absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think I talk to myself in front of anybody. I, but I would if I was driving along in the car. I might sort of go, oh God, when I get home, I really need to do this. I might say that out loud and not think, oh my God, I'm mad. I'm talking to myself out loud. You know, I do it. And I, as a tarot reader, say the whole reading out loud. I will say the whole process out loud in front of the client.
yeah.
And that works really well for me. So, you know, yeah,
And the client understands everything you're doing.
yeah.
They understand why you're coming up with the answers you're coming up with, and then I just think the way you do it really makes it easier for the client to understand.
It works for me. I wouldn't want to not do that.
Right.
Yeah, I really wouldn't want to not do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to not do that
Yeah, I
either.
think I have quite a busy mind, and that will be the Gemini moon. Like my mind, it's hard for me to calm down my mind. And my sister once actually even bought me a flotation tank experience. It's like where
That
you
would have
go,
killed me.
oh, I
No.
couldn't do it. I went to it. I went to it, and I got into it, and I literally, I was in there for a couple of minutes. I thought it was meant to be an hour. I thought, no, I can't do this. I
That's like
cannot do this.
torture. That's
I got
deprivation.
out. I got out of it, And then because you're absolutely alone in the little kind of room that you're in, and I just thought, my sister's paid a lot of money for this. No, I'm going to get back in. I'm going to give it another go. I went back in again. I couldn't do it. I had to just abandon it. It was awful.
Yeah.
And it was because of my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I have narcolepsy, but there are nights where I can't sleep because, when I'm supposed to be sleeping, of course, just constant, constant, constant,
Yeah.
constant. So what I do is, I don't count sheep because I find that not boring, just pointless. I go through the deck of tarot cards from,
Right.
yep. And it usually works. It puts me to sleep. Unless for some reason there's a hole in my head where a card should be. I should know every single daggone one of these cards, like inside and out.
How far into the deck do you normally get? Have you ever analysed it?
I usually get through the whole deck but there are some days like the last time I did it, I could not see the 8 of coins. Could not see it. And so I spent 4 hours laying there, a damn deck of tarot cards right next to my bed. I could have just looked, but I finally did after about 4 hours. But I was like, no, I should know this card. I should know this card. I would not so I kept myself up till the sun came up, trying to look for the daggone 8 of coins in my head. It just wasn't there. Big ol'
Wow,
hole.
so weird. That is so weird. I definitely think when I'm doing tarot, actually also when I'm doing these videos, I am more focused than in any other area of my life. Everything else I do a little bit of it, and then I go and do something else, then I come back and do another little bit of it. It's
Yeah.
very hard for me to just stick with one thing from beginning to end, except when I'm doing tarot, and then I'm absolutely on it. It's been
I
very
think
good
we're
for
in a
my
different
concentration.
zone. I
Mm.
think we're in a different zone.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's got to do with air too. The focus, that
Mm.
we talked about focus a lot on earth, but that was drive and determination, for material things. I
Yes.
think you and I, with so much air, the element of air in our charts too, we are much more focused on intellectual pursuits or things that excite us, our
Yeah.
mind to be part of.
Mm.
Yeah.
One thing I have noticed is that I like theme parks, and I like going on like the scary rides. I know it sounds a bit unexpected, but admittedly they do only last about a minute. But I just feel the thrill of those rides. I come off them and I think for a whole minute I just did the ride. I went with the ride. I wasn't thinking about anything else other than, oh my God, I'm loving this. Oh, this is so exciting. But do you know what I mean? It takes a thrill of such extremity for me to switch off my head.
That would be a good reason to like it. It's like, oh, everybody always is telling me to meditate. I nope. My
Can
form
you
of
not
meditation,
meditate?
I
Can you?
can't do it. I
I
cannot.
can't do it either.
And a lot of people tell me different ways of meditation, but
Yeah.
my main way of meditation, what calms me down and gives me calm or whatever, is to either read a really good book,
Yes.
just that brings me into focus, but it has to be a damn good book, or to daydream. I daydreaming is my form of meditation,
Okay.
and it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
but to sit still and I know everybody says you don't have to keep your brain completely still, but there's no way I'm gonna. I had to look at a candle for 6 minutes one time, just focusing on money. That was the longest damn 6 minutes of my life.
Wow.
I
Did
couldn't
it,
do
did
it.
it work? Are you kind of
Uh,
retiring to the Bahamas now?
no, no, it worked for the purpose that I needed it for. Because
Oh,
I made
okay.
my kid do it with me. I was like, help me to concentrate for 6 minutes. And he was like, Mom, I got ADHD. How am I going to sit still for 6 minutes?
Wow. That's no, that's really interesting. No, the suit of swords covers all of this sort of thing that we're talking about.
Does.
I mean, we might sound like we're sitting here just having a chat and, you know, all of that sort of stuff, but we are basically talking about the activity of the mind and kind of what problems that can get you into, or what pleasures that can get you into. It's very, I think it's very powerful. I mean, you know, neither of us are kind of psychiatrists or anything like that, but you know, we're human beings, and we're living like everybody with our minds 24/7, and the only time it possibly does switch off is when I'm asleep, and even then I wouldn't go so far as to say that it really is, but
yeah,
certain things will hold my attention. Tarot and astrology being right up there. Thank goodness, like, I found this. You know, I will enjoy certain TV programs or whatever, but even then, half the time I'm sort of, I'll pause it for a minute and go and get a cup of tea. I'll pause it for a minute because I've got to make a phone call. And it's me choosing to pause it. It's not as though I've been interrupted by something else. It's my brain that is kind of thinking, I'll just do it in little dribs and drabs, this thing.
yeah.
I hate it. And I mean, we will get to it when we get to this sort of specific card. There's certain swords cards that I have to kind of tune into if I want to get something done.
Yeah. The swords cards are really great for focus and for understanding misinterpretations.
Yes.
So
really brilliant suit.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah, the more you kind of like understand it and kind of get into all the possibilities of it, I just think I'm more enlightened as a person because of the tarot, and I think the swords have got a lot to do with it.
Oh, I got a story to tell you in the Three of Swords that just it blew my mind. I can't wait to tell you about that.
Okay.
I'm excited, and it made me see swords in a whole new light. It was mind-blowing.
Yeah. So, are we ready to kind of, you know, sort of, have we said everything we need to say in our introduction?
And then some, probably.
Yeah, but to summarize, it is thought, it is research, it's intelligence, it's just using your brain. It's kind of make the decision with your head rather than your heart, maybe. And it's communication.
Good or bad, because words can cut you deeper than anything most times.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we will sort of like see you all on the next video, where we will be discussing from the beginning the Ace of Swords.
Yes.
And yeah, hope you enjoy it. I think we demand lots of comments and lots of communication on this set.
And please, if you really liked the video, take 2 seconds, half a second to hit the like button. I don't know why people don't like hitting the like button, but it's like, it's half a second.
Yeah. Yes. And even better, subscribe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and if you want to kind of get in touch with us, communication, www.thepomegrannygrove.com. So, see you there. Bye for now.
Bye.